Today we're sending out prepay emails and I'm really excited. That means the season has started. Today we're sending out prepay letters to 1,300 customers. I'm really excited. This time of the year that I feel like the season's finally starting. It's been a long winter. So what prepays are is we send out this email to 1,300 customers and we give them the option to prepay for mowing services all year with one payment, and they'll get a 5% discount if they do that. We also put in there the spring wake-up package. It's a one-time service done at the beginning of the spring in March, and that gives them 15% discount if they decide to do that. They can do both or one or the other. And the reason why we do this prepay is to get a rush of capital and revenue at the very beginning, so that gets us money so that we can buy equipment, make sure that we can keep hiring whoever we need at the very beginning. And it's just nice to have a cushion to start the year with revenue. So that's why we do it, and we're sending those out today.
I like doing the Feb deal. It's always an exciting start to the new season after, kind of a sparse winter. As those emails start coming in responses to our Feb deal, just helps me feel excited for the upcoming mowing season. And I like it because our customers like it. They like not having to worry about paying throughout the year.
So as I mentioned a little bit ago, the February deal is what I call it, but prepay emails are really good to send out right now in February because our employees start coming in March 1st, and so the office staff starts trickling in now. And all of them are on part-time or even less than part-time right now, and they're cool with that. But these prepay emails that start coming in start helping us make it so that they can have full-time, 30 to 40 hours right now as we're ramping up the work, because all the employees are going to come in March 1st and we need to be able to pay them and not be worried about that kind of thing. Now, a lot of planning goes into the February deal. This is something that you need to work on all year, or at least we do, because of how many customers we have. And because of how many customers we have, a lot of the lawn prices have to be customized. So there could be 10 customers and they all have different prices for lawns. So it's something that we have to manually enter in a custom field for them all year. And it's so tedious that we actually hire somebody, and that's one of the jobs that they do. And they do that all year. They'll come in around 5 p.m. and stay till 9. So they'll answer phone calls during that time, but they'll also work on custom fields, which is the most important thing. Because sometimes in a day we could range from 20 new customers to 10. And so that's a lot of work to do. And that's the best time to get it done because there's not really any busy work around. There's nothing much more to do other than enter these custom fields and wait for the phone to ring. And if the phone rings, they could take those calls, sign new customers up, and when they hang up, they're going back to the custom field. So it's something that we invest heavily in for this time of the year, just for right now, because we're sending these out to 1,300 customers, and we need to make sure that there's really no hiccups so that every email that gets sent, the customer can respond to with no questions as to further instructions on what it is, because some of them don't know what the prepay emails are. So when they read it, it needs to be clear, and the prices need to be set. So that's kind of what we're doing today, and I call this the first day of the season because money's coming in. It's been about 2 hours now, and we've sold about 5. So I'm really happy. Now, these are going to trickle in every day till the end of February. And at the end of February, March, we might get a few calls to see if we can still offer them the deal. And we're pretty strict about saying no because we really want customers to give us the money in February so that we're not kind of trickling money into March and further. So I don't know. I'm really excited. We still have a month of snow pushing, but I officially think it's the first day of the season. So I'll tell you some things that I've dealt with in the past, so it's something for you to consider. Every once in a while, somebody's going to want a refund. And of course, you prorate that. So if they want the refund in the middle of the season, well, then you prorate it. And if they paid $1,400 at the beginning, it comes out to about $700, something like that. So you have to be ready for that. Does it happen a lot? No. I think in the 5 years that I've done prepays, I've had 2 people ask for refunds. I've had other customers say that if they didn't prepay for the whole season, they would have canceled. And I say, no, hold on, and then we make it right with them. And then they go, oh, okay, you're going to, you'll work with me? Yeah, of course. So that will happen quite a bit. What else? Customers will say, what happens if it rains? And we say, hey, for the most part, we go rain or shine. So for those prepays, we try and knock them out. We label those on the dispatch board for the mow guys. So when they're out mowing and they see that it's a prepay, they do everything in their power to make sure it gets done. So that's something we pretty much tell customers we try and do rain or shine. Other things that have happened are customers being a little demanding. Not all of them, but some customers that prepaid for the whole season are a little more demanding because they did shell out quite a bit up front. So it may seem like they're being a little picky. So be ready for that. I just tell the Motechs, make sure these lawns are perfect because they paid for the whole year, and we don't want any issues. We don't want to have to do a chargeback or refund or anything like that. Make sure you get to know these customers really good and take care of them. So, as long as you prepare for these things, you should be fine. But just be mindful that every once in a while, customer may want a refund, and you got to be ready for that. So the way that we price prepaid for mowing for the whole season is we times their mowing price by 32 weeks. And so sometimes the customer will say, well, what happens if you skip a week or it rains or something like that? We also tell them it doesn't matter. We're going to make sure your yard looks good all year long. And once your credit is used up from your prepays, that's when we'll let you know so that you can ask us to keep going, because it may be 32 weeks is usually the end of October, maybe a week or 2 into November. And like this past season, we were mowing until pretty much December. We stopped mowing because we were in December, but we could have kept going because there were still leaves dropping. There were still a few lawns that were still growing. So we just keep going until their credit is used up. So if we skip one, in July, we'll keep going into November, just making sure their lawn is clean. And customers really appreciate that as long as you tell them. You usually want to remind them sometime towards the end of October when the season would normally stop. You say, hey, you still have a few mows left from your prepay. We're going to keep going to make sure that your lawn looks good. And you'll get emails back saying, replies telling you, thank you so much. That's awesome. So that's something you need to kind of be aware of too. How do I have 2 work numbers for Conley?
Hello.
Conley, Freddie, how you doing?
I'm alright, man. How are you?
Good. I just got to ask you a quick question.
All right.
What are your thoughts on prepays?
I've never done them
Why not?
because I feel like there's a stigma to it, right? Like, well, if I'm going to prepay for the season, I expect to get a discount. And as a customer, I would expect that same thing. But as a company, now, like, flip the roles here for a second, I feel like my prices are already ridiculously competitive to the point where even a 5% discount is like a pretty big cut into what I stand to make. I take that money now, and then I don't have that money as like cash flow throughout the season as well.
Okay.
So I've never done it.
Gotcha. Everybody, Smile More from Conley from Ready, Set, Mow. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, you bet, Dave. We'll see you later.
See ya. Well, there it is. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do prepays work for you? Have you had good experiences with them? Bad experiences? Let me know. I just try to give you all the scenarios today that I could think of. I even called my buddy to see, because I knew he didn't do prepays, and I wanted to get his feedback so that we could show that to you. So, talk to you later.